Okay, so hello everyone. Good afternoon to you. I hope this is a good
Afternoon.
time, to be focused. Sometimes during lunch, people are a little sleepy. So I hope we're all alert and awake. Today, I'm going to talk about relationship and emotions in caregiving work. I'm going to talk about that for about 40 minutes. Then we're going to take a break at 3:10. And then, we have enough time also to ask questions and relate experiences and so on. And then we're going to meet our guests. So that's our schedule for today. And we will finish a few minutes before 4, just so that we all know what to expect. So, relationship and emotions in caregiving work. Listen, our work is emotion work. That's our main tool, right? We want to be sharp as a pencil could be in order to understand our employer, our patient's emotions, and also be very attuned to our own emotions, right? So let's see what that is all about. What is care? The word care has a double meaning. On the one hand, it emphasizes care activities such as bathing, dressing, feeding someone. On the other hand, care is also feelings of concern, such as caring or affection from the caregiver towards the patient. When we care about someone, we usually feel commitment and a responsibility towards someone. Care work. Definition of care work. Care work has been defined as work that provides services based on sustained personal interaction and is motivated, at least partly, by concern about others. The basis of care work involves creating a relationship with the patient and his family. Big star, underline, family. Definition: relationship is the way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected, or the state of being connected. So that's in terms of definitions. Interpersonal relationships. Well, we all have relationships. I mentioned that yesterday with our family, with our brothers, sisters, cousins, neighbors, friends, and in our workplace. But again, this is a different kind of a relationship because it's also work and it's also, part of our living situation. And that makes it that much different. Interpersonal relationship is an association between two or more people that may range from fleeting to enduring. Well, this is a very enduring relationship. The association may be based on care, solidarity, regular business interaction, or some other social type of commitment. Well, I think this kind of a relationship is going to involve all of those, okay? Solidarity, business, okay? And social commitment, absolutely. This is going to be very much your social life and your business life, and your and your solidarity is absolutely, primary here. The relationship you create with your patient and his family is an interpersonal relationship, right? And we talked about trust. The meaning and importance of relationship. Well, relationships provide the opportunity for 3 key benefits: exchange of support, social engagement, and a sense of worth. All major ingredients for the foundation of well-being of both sides of a relationship. Support, I know this is, something that we need from our employer, and they absolutely need it from us. Social engagement, well, that's going to depend on the family and on you, how much you are going to be engaged in terms of their family and their, whatever it is they do. If you're lucky and you have an employer that likes to sit in coffee shops and go to movies and go to theaters and drive around all kinds of exotic vacations, well, then you'll have an enormously fun, work opportunity. But if he's disabled and he's home, your social engagements will be limited to his, right? Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that you have to limit your own social engagements. And one of the things that I encourage you to do is when you do go out, make friends with people in the supermarket, people in the neighborhood, people upstairs, downstairs, wherever you encounter all kinds of people. Sometimes you'll find when you go to the park, other, caregivers with their employers. Make an effort to meet as many people as you can wherever you're exposed to them. And that way you'll be enhancing your own social environment and also your employers, right? Because he's not going to make new friends anywhere. It's all about you. And a sense of worth. This is something we talked about yesterday as well. I think that it's so important for your employer to still feel that he has, that he's worthwhile, that his life is worthwhile, that his being present is worthwhile. And this is something that, is also very important in our work, in our emotional work, right? To connect to someone makes them feel worthwhile. So this is something that's very, very prevalent in our work. All major ingredients for the foundation of well-being, okay, of both sides of a relationship. Components of a relationship. On the surface of a relationship, there are needs, desires, and abilities. Under the surface of a relationship, there are expectations, knowledge, and emotions. On the surface of a relationship, okay, both the caregiver and the patient have needs. Need for listening, for attention, for honesty, for feeling respected, right? Both sides need all of those things in a relationship. And desires, yes, both caregiver and patient have desires to be listened to have attention, honesty, and feeling respected. And abilities, both the caregiver and the patient have abilities, ability to listen, to respect each other. I want to say something about abilities. I think that it's very important in terms of making a person feel worthwhile is to have respect for his abilities, okay? So part of that is to encourage your employer to do as much for himself as he possibly can. And, it's very nice that you can do things for him, easier, faster, more efficient, to dress him in 2 minutes instead of waiting for him to dress himself 2 hours. But if he can, allow him to do it, okay? Or any part of the process. If he can just do half of it, let him do half of it. If he can do most of it, allow him to do most of it. It's all about, having the self-respect that a person needs in being as functional as possible. So being a better caregiver is not always doing more for them, but allowing them to do more for themselves. Under the surface of a relationship, there are expectations, knowledge, and emotions, okay? The same. Both the caregiver and the patient have needs to get good treatment and to keep the family involved. And knowledge, both the caregiver and the patient have knowledge, what is good for the care in their eyes, right? And first of all, you gotta respect what the patient wants, right? Not what the caregiver thinks he needs. And emotions, both the caregiver and the patient have emotions, can be positive, can be negative, empathy along with longing. Very important that you are aware of your own emotional, state. If you're, if you're sad, if you're happy, if you're anxious, if you're, whatever is going on in your own life, and everybody has, has a life, well, no matter what it is. Be prepared to deal with your own issues so that it will allow you to be sensitive enough to understand and to empathize with your employer. But you should share. I honestly think that it's very important, if you want to have a real relationship, that you share with your employer. You have a bad day, things are going on at home, things are making you anxious. You're gonna have a life like everybody else, so you have to share. If you're living with someone and caring for someone in a real capacity, then you have to share what's going on in your life, right? The connection between the two layers of relationships, needs, desires, and abilities, expectations, knowledge, and emotions, they go all the way across to the employer and to the caregiver, okay? And not just to the caregiver, but also to his family. So we're talking about both the caregiver and the patient have needs. Both the caregiver and the employer have desires, and everybody has abilities and expectations and knowledge and emotions. And all of those things are part of a relationship that both parts have. Care work is emotion work. Okay. Care work is often defined as emotion work. Emotion work can be defined as work that involves emotions. Emotions arise in work that requires to express emotions. It can also be defined as management of one's own feelings or work done in an effort to maintain a relationship. It's only natural that during the caregiving work, different and varied emotions will arise, both positive and negative. Each emotion is legitimate. Listen, people, it's going to be very difficult at times, okay? When you have to deal with issues that you didn't expect, that you didn't think would be so hard, that you didn't, that you haven't come across before, that would be frustrated because language, because of many reasons and issues. And it's very important that you learn about yourself, how to deal with your own emotions. Like I said before, I think, was it you, Bernardo, that said that it's important to pray, that you find yourself as a spiritual person, that you pray. Am I right, Bernardo? Was that you that said that you find prayer
Yes.
as helpful? Okay. Um, Everybody has to find something that energizes them. If it's dancing, singing, meditating, praying, talking to family members, talking to friends, it's like everything else. You have to have that varied scope of activities that allow you to cool down, to lessen tensions, and also to build up emotional emotional strength. Um, I want to say that one of the things that you'll have to learn if you haven't come across this situation before is to put borders. Okay, I use the word borders because it's very easy to kind of lose yourself in a situation, okay, where you become very involved emotionally. And we're talking about emotions, right? And we want everyone to empathize and to connect with their employers. But stepping back, you have to have, the ability to have borders of, you don't want to get too depressed about their situation, because otherwise you couldn't be helpful. And that is the advantage that you have being a professional caregiver over a family member, perhaps, okay, that they are so emotionally involved. And I use the example of, when you came here on your flight, you must have heard the flight attendant tell everybody, in a case of an emergency, first you put the oxygen mask on yourself and then you put it on someone sitting next to you if he's a child or whatever. Right. First, you got to have your strength. Otherwise, you can't help someone else. So you have to find the borders. I'll even tell you that when I was a very young woman and I worked as a social worker in a community that I lived in, I felt overwhelmed. I couldn't see the people that I was, had to deal with their problems. When I went to the supermarket, when I went to, for a walk in the street, I would see them and I would see their trouble on their face. Not that I would deal with it, but it was overwhelming to me. 24 hours a day to find them everywhere. And in the end, I had to move to a different neighborhood because I had to have that separation between work and my own life. And I'm just saying that for me, it was very extreme and I was very, very young and I had no experience, but that taught me, and I want to share the experience with you because you have to find the borders that will allow you to be on professionally and emotionally, but also be able to step back and have your own space, right? And have your own space, emotional space, I mean. So please take that into consideration, right? When you are building this relationship and trying to empathize and so on, but also being able to step back and have your separate place. Along with the emotion you have towards your patient, remember to be self-compassionate towards yourself. It's important to recognize your emotions, identify them, Give them space and acknowledge them. If you feel any negative emotions, do not suppress them. Do not be left alone with your feelings and emotions. You can always find someone to talk to, friend, family, and agency. And again, come up to a situation that you really don't know how to deal with, or you find that you're overwhelmed or whatever, don't be alone. Ask for help. Firstly, you have friends, hopefully through this media. You have CME, you can send a message to them. And of course, there's a social worker in the agency. I want to tell you that that this is your first experience, but the professionals have come across all of the situations that you are dealing with, and they know how to find solutions. Okay. And so please use them and their expertise and their experience in providing help for you. You don't have to, in Hebrew, we say you don't have to invent the wheel. The wheel has been invented. So, take advantage of whoever has been using the wheel for many, many, many years. So this is the best advice. Don't feel alone. You're not alone, really not. Okay. In any situation that you find overwhelming, difficult, and so on. Tips for creating good relationship. Be mindful of how you start a conversation. Ask open questions. Use the I statement. Be specific in the message you want to transfer, and give others the attitude you want to receive. I am sorry, I need to take a 1-minute break. I must open the door for someone. Please excuse me for 1 minute, please.
I will be with you in the meantime. Hi, everyone. So let me add that please contact the call center, because they are a direct line to PIBA. And if there is anything, if you like to make a complaint or anything like that, if you want to check something regarding your contract or rights and obligations, they're the people to contact. And that's it. I will let Sarah continue.
I'm back. Okay, sorry, I had to open the door for someone. Okay, so yes, be specific in the message you want to transfer. Again, when you are dealing with someone that their language is not their mother tongue and your language is not mother tongue, I find that the best way to try to communicate, besides pantomime and so on, you look a person in the eye, you smile, sometimes you touch them gently, try to focus on them, and you say what you need to say, looking them in the eye with short, specific messages. And hopefully your message will come across. Give others the attitude that you want to receive. I don't think you can go wrong with that. All right, so I invite you to, share and talk and ask questions. What are your expectations from the relationship with your patient, your employer? What do you think your patient's expectations are from you? What feelings do you think may arise during caregiving work? And how do you usually express your feelings? How do you feel in general about care work? Anyone have any questions or comments or things they'd like to share? Please do. I highly suggest that if you are creative and like to write a journal, write a blog, be very sensitive about your employer's what's the word? Not
privacy.
Privacy, right? Okay, right. You don't want to show people on the internet or to family unless they agree, unless they give their consent. If they have any kind of dementia or problems with memory or cognitive issues, then you must have their consent. You can take photographs in the back of them, but not to show their face, not to talk about their name. You must be very private about those things. Um, write songs, compose music, do, be creative in any possible way that you think will enhance your own life. And I'm sure that, that will allow you to express whatever is happening in your life. Um, talk, guys. What would you like to express, show, questions? This is your time.
Hi, ma'am. I'm here.
Hi,
Hi,
Virginia. Hi.
ma'am. I'm here now in my employer last night.
Okay.
Then I look after for my employer, the 21 years old. He has the history of cerebral palsy.
Mm,
And then when he was arrived coming from the school, we accepted him, and then we get him from the wheelchair to bed. So at 7 o'clock, I his mother was teach me how to do his food, and then I am the one to teach me how to um, handle him when he's arriving from the school. So
okay.
so I cooperate with him. And then they have one old guy, the caretaker of that boy, and then he teaches me how to do the letter because he's very sensitive. Um, I'm just very honest that when I do the letter, I have my companion, even one person, because his case is very sensible because he's totally
Disabled.
yeah,
Okay. So there's two of you caring for him or just you?
it's only me,
Only you.
and that's why last night I was look after with him at around 2 o'clock because when he was sleeping at around 10 o'clock, I I monitor him at around 2 o'clock because of his diaper was full already. And
Mm,
then his mom said to me, "Don't touch him. Leave him until 6 o'clock." But I'm very concerned, mom. So what can I do? So I have to respect them because they always say if the boy, I always monitor him every 2 hours. They will disturb his sleeping. So when he was in school, she would be feel uneasy. So I have to respect them. Is that okay?
yeah.
That what is
Okay. You have to learn their routine. His mom knows what's good for him. And I can see you're very anxious because it's a big responsibility.
yes.
And okay. Does he speak English?
The boy cannot speak, and he cannot, only he can see the color, but that's what his mother said.
Hmm.
He
Okay.
cannot
So
speak. He
all
cannot
the care
speak the
is from
language.
his mother's experience that you have to learn from her how to care for him. Okay. But
Exactly.
eventually you will know. You will know like she knows what's good for him, what's not so good for him.
Yeah.
She has experience and you will as well. Okay. What city are you in?
I'm here in Pita Tikba
Petah Tikva. Okay, that's a nice area.
and area too.
Okay. Okay. So when he goes to school, you have time for yourself a little bit?
Yes, the mom said to me, "Oh, you have to sleep." And I said to them, "No, if I have my free time, mom, I can help also to you to uh, washing their clothes or something like that." And they
Okay.
said, "No, no, no." But it's okay if I'm free. I keep on learning the Hebrew because his mom wanted me to learn. And I
Okay.
said, yeah,
So it sounds like you have a good family, that they don't want to take advantage of you. They want you to slowly, learn the job. It's a big job caring for this young man,
yeah,
and not to overload you with all kinds of other things. That's good.
yeah.
Okay.
I said to his mom, as what written in the contract, my priority is the client, the patient. So if I am
Mm-hmm.
free, I can help, no problem. But I have to learn the language also. What's the most
Okay.
important?
Slowly,
Because
slowly.
because the client mom is always expressing his face, keep smiling, and he was he looks happy,
Hmm.
so it's
All
okay.
right. See how helpful it is when someone smiles at you. You got to smile back.
Thank
Even
you.
if he can't talk, he can smile. That's a blessing. That is a blessing. That
Need
if he
more
can
patience.
smile, right.
Thank you, ma'am. That's what I had experienced last night.
Okay. First days are hard, Virginia. They're very hard. Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else would like to ask or share something, where they are? What's on their mind? Well, if you don't have anything you'd like to share, think about questions you may have for our guest speaker. She'll be coming on in about in a few minutes, so we can take a few minute pause, and unless someone else wants to share or ask something, and we'll be back in 5 minutes, and then she'll join us, and we can hear her story. Okay,
Yeah.
Anat?
Of course. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone. So 5 minutes free.
Okay.